My bandsaw's been sitting on my workbench for 2 months, and every time I need to cut something else, I have to pick it up and move it or slide it over. And I don't have room for a dedicated stand. Most people with a garage shop don't either. So I'm building something that I'll flip it out of the way and attach it straight to the workbench. There are 3 things I need to make sure that are perfect in order for this to work. The first is the tabletop height. I need it to feed onto the workbench and not be too low and hit it, or too high where there's a big gap. The second is it needs to flip easy, but it also can't be in the wrong spot because then it'll hit the bottom of the workbench or possibly the floor. And the third and probably most challenging is the front support. I want it to be nice and easy because we're inside here, so I'm going to have to reach through or something. Plus I'm picking it up. So when I lift up on the hinges, the back will be held by that, and then I'm going to have some sort of support for the front that'll be nice and easy to use. 3 problems, 3 solutions. Now let's see if I can get them all right on the first try. And I've got some sketches right here, so I sort of got a plan, but you know how my builds go. Step 1, get this thing the right height. Let's see how tall it actually needs to be. I'll start by using a freshly installed miter saw, getting the vertical boards cut, which is the easy part. I know how long these need to be, but the real challenge is their placement. After cutting all those pieces, I went ahead and drilled some pocket holes and pre-drilled the screws for the vertical boards, and I went ahead and screwed in the frame or the bottom base for the bandsaw together already. Nothing's glued yet, I'm just dry fitting it to make sure everything will fit. And you may be asking, why pocket holes? Well, I started with pocket holes, we're going to finish with pocket holes. So now I need to figure out where to put these. And the biggest thing I want to do is try to avoid putting too much weight on this. So ideally, I would be able to reuse this board, so that would save on material and weight without having to add another board like right here or something. And I can't have these too far back because it'll block there. So first I need to figure out where I'm going to position these, and then we're going to work on where I'm going to put the actual base for the bandsaw. And the biggest challenge I've been having right now is where to put the pivot point on the bandsaw. Because the problem with this one is the distance from the bottom of the bandsaw to the top of the table is a lot wider and larger than my miter saw and planer that was like this. So I was able to put the hinge on the back. Well, 2 things. 1, the bandsaw is way too tall to do it that way. So by the time where I would need to put this would have to be really low toward the ground to get the tabletop here. So when I go to fold it down, it's going to hit the ground. It won't be able to fold. So I've got to raise this pivot point up higher and let it come this way. So it's going to have to go somewhere in the middle to towards the back. And that's what I've been playing with here, trying to mimic that, because I want it ideally kind of in the middle, something like in this general area, so it would, you know, be easier, right? So the closer to the middle, the easier it is to go back and forth. But the way I'm building it, I'm going to have support in the front. So I need to have it a little bit farther towards the back here. And that way, you know, it's pretty stable. Because if I have it centered, then I could potentially end up coming backwards while I'm working or something. Because I'm not putting anything back here, unless I think of a way after we do it. But as far as currently, I can't think of a way. So maybe, like I said, we'll build it and modify as we go. So I'm going to start with 8 inches out and see how that works. Right there. So if we put our board here on the front, and then about a 1/2 inch room for that with the and I have my lines marked where I wanted it on my frame to be roughly. Okay, that's too far. I don't want it like that. Okay. So let's scoot it back. Oh, I didn't look at that. Maybe let's just do a couple inches. We'll just eyeball it and see. Let's say if we put it there, something like that. I want it to support right there. Move this over a little bit, actually. Yeah. Okay, so right about there, which is about 6 1/4 distance between there. Okay. And so let's clamp it up and see how that's gonna look. So got everything all clamped up. Got this bandsaw resting on it, and we're about 3¼ inches off. So we have to drop this down and see what happens. All right, finally got it where I want it. Just slightly taller than my bench here, maybe like 16th or 32nd, something like that. I got a little bitty gap, so when I'm running these boards through, I'm not going to hit it, which is really nice. But boy, let me tell you, it was a pain in the butt. All right, moving on. And so the base I made for this frame is just slightly bigger than the bandsaw bottom, but the table sticks out a little bit, about 4½ inches. So I cut myself a little scrap that's 5½ inches long. So that way I'll have a little bit of clearance between the ground and where it's going to hang down at. So now I can mark where I need my hinges to go. Right there's where it's going to line up. So now I need to see where I want to put the hinge. So I can raise this or lower. I can't have it too low, that way it doesn't hit the bottom down there. And I just happen to have a piece of scrap that's just like a perfect height where the hinge is going to be slightly behind the middle where I played with it before. So I'm going to go ahead and mark those out. And that way I can install that middle brace and the hinges. And we're just going to get each of them snug, and I'll come back and tighten them up later. I just want to make sure they're all in the right spot without moving. And when you pocket screws, remember, keep your torque setting down, that way you don't strip them out. Alright, that's good. Now we can install our hinges. And actually, before I start dealing with the hinges, I better lock all this stuff in place before my clamp shift or something like that. Height's dialed in. Close the bench on the swing. Clears the floor. We're good. Now, front support. And I know what you're thinking. French plate holder, like the miter saw, like the planer, and you're wrong. Dead wrong. I'm thinking swinging gate. Let me show you. So now comes the hard part, because this isn't going to be just a 45 and a 45, because this is not the same length as this. They're all different lengths, and I have that little lip I want out, right, to sit on that little scrap block. So I've got to find the right angles, so we're going to cut a few different scraps and test it out. After cutting quite a few scraps and playing with the angles, I think I finally got it, and so we're going to do this one at 54. Then this next one's going down to 36. So there's one piece. Then what's left is going to be 90 and 38. And see, I could have just done a simple 45 and 45 and made it like that, which I guess looks okay. But I was really wanting something where this angle just continues. Something like this. Let's see, yeah, like if it was like this, which I need to cut this one a little bit shorter, but the 90 will be easy. I wanted to make sure I got the angles right. So, for example, like when I had my scraps, my test pieces, now you'll see what I'm saying. So something like this, right? So I don't know. I just thought that looked kind of cool. Gives me a little lip, and there you go. All right, now everything is cut and it fits nice. Now it's time to glue it and screw it. And time to slap a couple of hinges on these things. We'll go ahead and mark out our lines here, and then we're going to drill our holes. And now we just need to line it up and mark it in here. Right up on the edge there. Got my stop blocks for where I need it. Right about there. We'll just do this first hole. That way I can pivot if needed. I couldn't really get any good shots off on this, but basically I got a couple screws in, got it started, made sure everything was still aligned, and then I just screwed the rest in. And there we go. One swinging door. So now I want to attach the hinges to the base, and I've got my centers marked out. So we're going to go ahead and drill those holes and then screw it in. And now it's time to attach these onto here. Alright, now we've got everything drilled in. It swings nice, free, and clear. But even with just the weight of this, it bounces. I don't like that. So when it's hanging, all the weight is going to be coming this way and down, and this kind of flexes. So I'm going to put another support brace right under this that it'll lock in when it comes down. And it's a good thing this is for my workbench. That way I can just use this kind of ugly looking scrap I have laying around. But we're going to clean it up. I'm about to rip this down and make it the right fit. That's going to be fun to get to. I don't even know if I'm going to get this on camera. Climb up in here. Yep. Now that that's set, let's get this thing put together. Just a few screws to lock this bandsaw in place. Alright, now for the moment of truth. Let's see how this thing goes. Open that up, that's nice and easy, and this comes down. Oh, what am I hitting? Oh! Oh! It's too tall! Oh! Of course! What did you guys expect? You thought I was gonna get this right on the first time? Oh, alright. Well, so I need to either shift this over, or maybe I can shift this over. That would actually put it a little bit more in the middle. Make that a little lighter. If I shift it over, that'll still clear. That will still balance. We'll figure it out. Let's see. Let's see. Alright, so what I went ahead and did was I moved this bracket back a little bit. That one in the middle under there. I moved it over a little bit to the left, and it still hit. I was going to chamfer off this bit, but it still was just going to make the board too small and not really supportive. So I went ahead and moved this board, added a new board on the outside, and it works. Let me see if I can show you guys on camera pretty good. There we go. Pull this back, open this gate, and put this in. Clears everything. Doesn't hit that, doesn't hit that. It's hanging in. When I'm ready, pull it back up, swing the gate in, and that's pretty dang easy to use, man. So when I'm ready, then I can feed it through. So now all that's left is to disassemble it, glue it, screw it back in, and paint it all. So I will meet you guys right back here after I do all that. Glued, painted, back together. Let's see how many I actually solved. 3 things had to be right. The first was the table height. Feed straight onto the workbench. No lip, no gap. 2, clearance. Swings without kissing the floor or the bench. 3, front support. No French cleat, no wobble. Just a swinging gate that locks in and holds 80 pounds like it's not even trying. That's a good day in the shop. Now, what do we actually build with this thing? First bandsaw project, you pick. Maybe it could be a curve, could be a resaw, Maybe it's something I haven't even built before. Give me a real challenge. Drop it in the comments below. Just keep in mind, whatever you pick, you have to watch me build. So choose wisely. Alright guys, I will see you in the next one.